Daniel always worked late at night. One rainy evening, he entered an old building where a strange elevator was waiting on the empty ground floor. The building was almost empty. Daniel pressed the elevator button, but the light above it started flickering in a way he had never seen before. The elevator doors opened slowly. Inside was an old cabin with damaged walls, weak lights, and a feeling that someone had been there before. Daniel stepped inside and noticed something strange. The elevator buttons showed floors that didn't exist anywhere in the building. He ignored the strange buttons and quickly pressed the ground floor. He just wanted to leave, but the elevator had other plans. The doors closed, but instead of moving down, the elevator suddenly started going upward into the darkness above. Daniel looked at the display in shock. The number kept increasing, even though the building only had 20 floors. He tried pressing every button, but nothing worked. The elevator continued climbing higher and higher without stopping. Then the lights went completely dark. For a few seconds, Daniel heard only his own breathing and a strange sound above him. When the lights returned, Daniel saw a new floor number on the display, a floor that was impossible to exist. The display stopped on floor 47. Daniel stared in disbelief. The building had only 20 floors, yet the elevator doors slowly began to open. Outside was a hallway that looked frozen in time. Dust covered everything, and every office door stood slightly open as if someone had left in a hurry. Daniel called out, hoping someone was there. His own voice echoed through the hallway, but the silence that followed felt even more terrifying. A single office suddenly slammed shut at the far end of the corridor. Daniel froze. He knew he had not seen anyone there only seconds earlier. He slowly walked toward the closed office. Just before reaching the door, the elevator behind him rang, as if someone had called it again. Daniel turned toward the elevator. The doors were open again, but this time a shadowy figure stood inside, perfectly still, with its face hidden in darkness. Daniel blinked for only a second. When he looked again, the mysterious figure had disappeared, leaving the elevator completely empty. As he stepped closer, he noticed fresh footprints on the dusty floor. They led into the elevator, but none of them came back out. Inside the elevator, every button had gone dark, except one. A single glowing button waited silently at the very top of the control panel. Before Daniel could touch the glowing button, the elevator doors slammed shut by themselves, trapping him inside once again. The elevator shot upward with impossible speed. Daniel lost his balance as the cabin shook violently, yet no floor numbers appeared anymore. Then everything stopped. The silence felt unnatural. Even the elevator's motor had gone completely quiet, as if time itself had frozen. The doors opened onto another floor, but this place looked strangely familiar. It was an exact copy of the building's ground floor, completely empty. He walked toward the exit doors, relieved for a moment. But outside, the glass was endless darkness instead of the rainy city he remembered. As Daniel stepped backward in fear, the elevator behind him rang once. The doors opened again, waiting as if it wanted him to return. Daniel stepped back into the elevator. As the doors closed, he noticed a worn leather folder lying on the floor, covered in years of dust. Inside were faded reports of people who had vanished without a trace. Every case ended with the same chilling sentence: last seen inside the elevator. One faded photograph caught his attention. The man looked almost identical to Daniel, wearing the same suit and carrying the same briefcase. Before he could understand the mystery, every light inside the elevator went dark. A cold whisper echoed from somewhere behind his shoulder. The lights returned for a single second. Standing beside Daniel was the same man from the photograph, silently staring straight into his eyes. The lights vanished again. When they returned, the mysterious double was gone, but a handwritten message had appeared on the elevator wall. The warning was simple but terrifying. It begged whoever entered the elevator never to step onto the highest floor no matter what happened. Before Daniel could think, the elevator jolted upward again. This time, the movement felt unnaturally fast, almost beyond the laws of physics. The display came back to life, counting impossible numbers faster and faster until Daniel could no longer follow them with his eyes. Without warning, the elevator stopped. Beyond the opening doors waited a brilliant white hallway, unlike anything Daniel had seen before. Daniel stepped into the glowing hallway. The air felt strangely warm, and every sound from the elevator disappeared behind him as if the world had gone silent. Framed photographs covered both walls. Every picture showed someone who had entered the elevator, and none of them had ever returned home. At the end of the hallway stood an enormous antique clock. Its hands moved backward, and every second echoed like a heartbeat through the empty corridor. Behind the clock, Daniel discovered another elevator door. It looked newer than the first one, but something about it felt far more dangerous. As Daniel reached for the call button, the new elevator opened by itself. Inside stood the mysterious double, silently inviting him to enter once again. Daniel stepped into the second elevator. The doors closed without a sound, and for the first time, the cabin began moving downward instead of up. The floor display counted backward through impossible numbers until it finally stopped at a floor marked only with a strange symbol. Beyond the doors was a control room filled with abandoned security monitors. Every screen showed the same elevator at different moments in time. One monitor showed Daniel entering the building earlier that same night. Another showed him much older, still trapped inside the elevator decades later. Hidden beneath the monitors, Daniel discovered an old emergency log revealing that the elevator had never been built by human hands alone. The lights suddenly failed. In the darkness, dozens of slow footsteps surrounded Daniel, but no one could be seen anywhere. The emergency lights returned, revealing silent figures standing all around him. They were the missing passengers who had never escaped. The mysterious double stepped forward and quietly handed Daniel the elevator key. Then he slowly faded into complete darkness. Daniel placed the key into a hidden lock beside the elevator. Every light turned white as the entire building began shaking around him. The next morning, the building stood completely empty. Security footage showed Daniel entering the elevator, but no recording ever showed him leaving.